Very good evening, everyone. So let's begin with our presentation session. Those who wants to give presentation, please raise your hands. We will go in raised hand sequence only. Yes, Asmita, you can start your presentation.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible as well as visible.
Okay, let me see. So good evening, ma'am. I'm Asmita from Artificial Intelligence Department, and my task was implementing image segmentation algorithm. So let's start. Today's agenda first is introduction, then we'll know the importance of crop distribution monitoring, and then the challenges in traditional crop monitoring methods. What is crop vision's core feature, how crop vision works, and image segmentation, implementing image segmentation, and last conclusion. So first introduction, distribution monitoring is a fundamental aspect of modern agriculture with a far-reaching implication for food security, resource management, and sustainable farming practices. Understanding the accurately tracking the spatial distribution of crops is crucial for a multitude of reasons, and it plays a central role in the success of agricultural systems. Importance of crop distribution monitoring. So the first importance is resource allocation. Resource allocation based on actual crop distribution minimizes waste, ensuring that resources are not overused or underutilized, helps in reducing waste. Then it is cost saving as resource allocation reduces input costs, improving the financial availability of farming operations. And it also helps in environmental sustainability as minimizing resource use through precise allocation supports sustainable and responsible agricultural practices, reducing the environmental impact of farming. Then the second importance is informed decision making. We have it allows for timely intervention such as pest and disease management and responding to weather related challenges and adjusting planting schedules. Then we have risk mitigation. By understanding where and how crops are distributed, stakeholder can identify potential risks and devise strategies to mitigate them. And it also helps in market and sales strategies as crop distribution data aid in devising market strategies, including pricing, storage, transportation, and planning. It also helps in enhancing productivity as with accurate data on crop distribution, farmer can fine-tune their cultivation practices to maximize yields. And crop diversification, which helps in reducing monocultural risk and support long-term soil health. And sustainable agriculture, by optimizing resource use and reducing waste, monitoring contributes to the sustainability of farming practices. And fourth importance, we have adaptation to climate change. As climate changes continues to impact agriculture, understanding crop distribution becomes crucial for adapting to shifting weather patterns and making climate and resilient choices. And last, we have food security, as accurate crop distribution data is essential for ensuring a consistent and diverse food supply. It also minimizes the risk of food shortage and helps authorities prepare for potential crises. Then we have challenges in traditional crop monitoring method. So traditional method of monitoring crops involve manual labor and are often time consuming, costly and prone to inaccuracies. Challenges challenges are time intensive data collection, limited geographical coverage, seasonal variability, inaccuracies and human error, inefficient resource allocation. So to address these challenges, we have crop vision, an AI-powered solution for crop distribution monitoring. So, what is crop vision? Crop vision is a cutting-edge solution for crop distribution monitoring that harnesses advanced technology to provide accurate and actionable insights. It is an innovative technology that leverages advanced image segmentation algorithm and satellite imagery to identify, access, and visualize different crop types and their distribution in various regions. It offers a more efficient, accurate, and cost-effective approach to crop monitoring. Though the features of crop vision is advanced image segmentation, utilization of satellite imagery, and data-driven insights. So, advanced image segmentation, crop vision uses cutting-edge image segmentation techniques to distinguish between different crop types with a high degree of accuracy. And crop vision relies on satellite imagery, providing extensive geographical coverage and frequent updates, and it transforms raw data into actionable insight, allowing agricultural authorities, researchers, and farmers to make informed decisions and optimize resource allocation. Then we have how crop vision works. So crop vision operates through a combination of artificial intelligence algorithm and satellite imagery underpinned by sophisticated image segmentation technique. So first is AI powered algorithm. Crop vision relies on AI algorithms that are trained to analyze satellite imagery, and these algorithms are designed to recognize patterns, shapes, and color variation in the images to distinguish between different type of crops. And machine learning and deep learning techniques are employed to train the artificial intelligence model, enabling them to continually improve their accuracy over time. Then we have satellite imagery. These satellites orbit the Earth, capturing detailed images of the planet's surface at regular intervals. This satellite imagery provides several advantages like global coverage, frequent updates, and consistency. Then we have image segmentation techniques. Uh, Image segmentation is a process of dividing an image into meaningful segment or region. Crop vision employs advanced image segmentation techniques to identify and separate different crop types in satellite images. And some of the key image segmentation techniques crop vision have is pixel-based segmentation, object-based segmentation, and machine learning assisted segmentation. So pixel-based segmentation involves categorizing individual pixels into an image into different classes based on their color, intensity, and other characteristics. And object-based segmentation, instead of analyzing pixels individually, this method groups neighboring pixels into object and region, making it easier to identify. And then machine learning assisted segmentation. So machine learning models are applied to the segmented images, allowing for improved accuracy and reducing false identification. Then last we have data after transformation and visualization. Once the AI algorithm have processed the satellite images are conducted image segmentation, and data is transformed into actionable insights. This information can be visualized in various formats such as maps, charts, and graphs. Crop vision enables user to interact with data, providing a user-friendly interface for accessing valuable insight about crop distribution and trends. Image segmentation. So image segmentation, as we learned previously, is a crucial component of crop vision as it involves breaking down satellite imagery into distinct regions or segments based on various characteristics. It works at pixel level, and its main objective is to identify object or region of interest within an image. These objects can be anything from simple shapes to complex objects. They might represent organ, cell, crop, or specific feature. Image segmentation often includes edge detection, which helps locate boundaries or edge that separate one segment from another. These are the applications of image segmentation: object recognition, medical image analysis, satellite image processing, autonomous driving, and image editing. And the technique used in image segmentation are thresholding, clustering methods, edge-based methods, region growing methods, and convolutional neural networks. So the question is how image segmentation works in crop vision. So the first step is pre-processing. In pre-processing, the satellite imagery we process satellite imagery. This include tasks like noise reduction, image enhancement, and calibration to ensure that the images are of the highest quality. Then it does color and texture analysis, which the software analyzes the color and texture variation in the image. Different crop often exhibit variation on the image. Different crop often exhibit variation in the size and their texture. Then it does pixel clustering. Image segmentation algorithms group pixels together based on their similarities. Pixels with similar color, brightness, or texture are grouped into clusters or segments. Then it does edge detection, which in which edge detection algorithms are, are identified boundaries or edge between different segments, helping in delineate individual crop. Then we have machine learning integration, in which ML models may be employed to refine segmentation results. These models can learn from labeled data and improve their ability to accurately separate different type of crops. Then the last step is post pre-processing, in which after segmentation, additional post pre-processing steps can be applied to further refine the result. This might involve merging small segments, removing noise, or filling gaps in the delineation. Then we have implementation of image segmentation. This is the implementation. So I'll explain it. First, we install required libraries like Rasterio and Sticky Image. These libraries work for geospatial images. And then we imported functions like show shapes from rasterio.plot, and we imported numpy function as numpy and slick function from skid image segmentation, and plot from matplot library for plotting the graph in the end. Then we made a function which will have parameter of parameter address of this image. This is a geotiff image of Delhi, and then we read the image by using Rasterio, which we imported above. And then we converted our 3D image to 2D using reshape function. Then we performed image segmentation using slick function and calculated the area of each segment in pixels. And then we calculated the area of each crop in hectares and displayed the segmented image. And in the end, we created a bar plot. This. So in the end conclusion, crop vision represents a transformative advancement in agriculture that holds the promise of revolutionizing how we monitor, manage, and optimize crop distribution. This cutting-edge AI-powered solution harnesses the power of advanced image segmentation algorithm and satellite imagery analysis to provide invaluable insight into the world of agriculture. These are the references I used for making this presentation. So if you have any query, you can contact me. This is my email. Thank you.
Okay, so are you done with your presentation, Asmita?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, actually, I guess I missed the output part. What was the output after you run your code?
Okay, ma'am, this is a graph icon.
Okay, please show me once if it's possible. possible. 。 . 。  . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。
Okay, Still visible?
What happened? Are you able to share your screen? Okay.
Ma'am, is it
okay.
visible?
Yeah, now it's visible. Okay, so explain it once that what you have, how this outcome has come.
Okay. So, ma'am, this is a code for plotting the graph. First, I created a bar plot by using plot function, which we imported from the above from matplot.lib package, and then I plotted the bar of unique crop types and crop type areas, and I labeled the x-axis by crop type and y-axis by area in hectares, and then the title of the graph from crop distribution, and I use this rotation 0 and then plot.show.
Okay, so
to show the
what basically this bar represents? Like you process that image, you done the image segmentation, your image gets segmented, then what this basically bars represent?
Ma'am, it represents the crop distribution
Okay.
in that area.
Okay, fine. Rest your presentation was good, as well as your flow was also maintained during the presentation. From your side, do you have any questions to ask?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. Okay, next we have Shubhi. You can start your presentation.
Ma'am, am I visible and audible?
Yes, you are visible as well as audible.
Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay. So, good evening, ma'am. If at any point of time my screen is not visible or the commands which I am saying are not matching the commands being shown on the screen, please prompt at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Today, my task is plotting trend lines on HDFC Bank CSV data. My name is SHUBHI VARSHNEY, and I am from Machine Learning and Deep Learning Group. Before we move further in the presentation, let us have a quick look on the table of contents. So in this, first we will have an overview of what we are going to do, then an introduction, followed by why trend lines should be drawn, types of trends, support and resistance, validation of trend lines, and so on. Then overview, what we will do in this task. The first step will be to understand the trend lines. We will use the HDFC Bank CSV dataset to plot the trend lines using Python. The second step will be to understand the types of trends. We will learn about the trend lines up, down, and sideways. The last step will be validation of trend lines. Let us understand by introduction itself. So what are trend lines? So trend lines are a fundamental tool in technical analysis, which is a basic method of analyzing and forecasting the financial markets based on various parameters such as historical price, volume, RSI strength, and so on. These trend lines are used to visually represent the direction and strength of price movement. Now, trend line, what is it is? A trend line is a straight line drawn on a price chart to connect a series of price points. As shown in the image, this is a trend line. This is the price movement. These are the price points. This is higher price, and higher price, followed by lower. So these are known as higher highs and these are known as lower highs. So the primary purpose of trend lines is to identify and visualize trend in the market. From this graph, one may visualize that currently the market is in downward side. The trend is going in downside and the market is going in loss, probably indicating that we might sell a share so as to ensure that we have the minimum loss. Then further, purpose of trend lines. So the main purpose of trend lines is to identify trends. The trend lines provide a visual representation of the overall direction, that where there is an uptrend or a downtrend. One can see in this image, there is a downtrend, followed by here, it is an uptrend. The second purpose of trend lines is to define support and resistance level. So in an uptrend, the trend line acts as a support level. So here one can see this is an uptrend. Here a line drawn will act as a support line. And in a downtrend, the line acts as a resistance line. Then assists in entry and exit point. The purpose of trend lines is in assisting entry and exit points. Now, what are entry and exit points? Traders generally have entry and exit points. The traders, when they enter the market and buy that particular share, that is known as their entry point. And when they sell that share and just move out from that particular company, it is known as their exit points. Now, the last purpose of the trend lines is to determine the trend strength and direction. So the slope of the trend line provides information about the strength and speed of the trend. One can see the trend is in upward direction. The major trend is in upward direction, indicating the market is in profit, and one might invest in to get a good profit. Now there are three types of trends: the uptrend, downtrend, and sideways. Let us understand each of them one by one, starting by uptrend. So uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows. One can see here is an uptrend. These are the higher highs and these are the higher lows. This indicates that the price of the security is generally increasing over time, which means that the customers are really interested in buying that particular stock. Now, in visual representation on a price chart, it is depicted by a line going in an upward direction, and in an upward trend, there is generally positive sentiments and confidence in the market. The buyers are generally more active. They believe that the stock will surely rise in the future and is now showing current profits. For example, during the time of summers, the sale of ice cream increases many folds because of various reasons. And as a result, people generally tend to buy the stocks of the companies who are producing milk products or milk or ice cream or so whatsoever. If they are even related by a minute step to the ice cream industry, they will surely buy its stock. For example, coloring or flavoring agents. We know that these are used in ice cream, and the sale of ice creams are increased in the summer season, or curd or any cold drinks. Generally, people are more tend to buy the stocks of these during the summertime, and as soon as the winter season will kick in, the traders will sell their stocks because they know the company will now have decreased sale, indicating a downtrend. Now, what is a downtrend? A downtrend is characterized by a series of higher lows and lower lows. Here in this image on the back side, we can see a downtrend with higher lows and lower lows. The lower lows are shown by this, whereas the higher lows are shown by these points. These indicate the price of the security is generally decreasing over time. One can see on this price plot also that the price is decreasing over time. Then market sentiment. In a downtrend, there is generally a negative sentiment and permission that in the security or market, sellers are more active to sell their stock, because they generally believe that the stock will not perform well now. In the same example of an ice cream, this downtrend may represent the time of winters where the company is not generally performing well because they have the products which are liked by the consumers during the summer seasons. Now, the last type of trend is sideways or horizontal trend. So a sideways or horizontal trend is also known as range-bound market. It is characterized by prices moving within a relatively narrow range without a clear and sustained upward or downward movement. In the image back, one can see in the sideways, there is no uptrend or downtrend. It is just going in the sideward direction. It is just moving while being in the same level of price. Then market sentiment, there in the sideways, there is uncertainty or indecision in the market. Buyers and sellers are roughly balanced, which leads to lacking of strong directional movement. The buyers, some buyers are interested in selling their stock, or some buyers are interested in buying more stock. For example, during the COVID times when we had the second wave, people got to know that yes, this virus can also come back and can backfire on us. Then the stocks of the pharmaceutical companies showed an uptrend, a major uptrend, followed after which when the wave subsided, the market showed a bit of downtrend. The pharmaceutical companies showed a bit of downtrend, but as soon as buyers had a sentiment in their mind that the market can again push back and there might be also a third wave possible, there was a mixed emotion between the traders and buyers that we should sell our stocks or we should keep them, as when will the third wave come? Might there be a much uptrend as shown by the previous wave? There might be higher prices for our stock. And also there were some traders who believed that the second wave was itself the end of the virus, and now there will be no further waves, indicating that now they should sell their stocks. So that mixed emotion will result in this sideways movement of the trend. Now, data preparation. What is data preparation? It is also known as data pre-processing. It is a crucial step in data analysis process, and it involves cleaning, transforming, and organizing raw data into a format that is suitable for analysis or modeling. This is a very important step. For example, if I have just a mud and I have to prepare a vessel or some showcase vase from it, to make a show vase or any important decoration item, I have to ensure that this mud gets wet, it is molded and then put in a mold, and then it is put on potter's wheel and then given a shape to ensure that it looks beautiful. It has a shape of a vase or a vessel, and then it has some purpose. Keeping just raw mud will not ensure any good thing, and it will not be of any use. If I am having there are different purposes for that mud itself. The mud may be used in farming, or the mud may be used for some other purposes. But right now, the current purpose of that mud is to shape it into a vessel. And for that, I have to ensure the necessary steps. Same is the case in data preparation also. In machine learning also, when we get the data, it is in its raw form, which means it is of no use. It might have multiple uses, but right now, just the raw data may not have any use. To ensure that the data gets into work and is giving us some good amount of data information, we have to perform some key steps. The key steps are data collection. First step is to ensure that we get a good amount of data. In the example I have stated, we have to ensure that we get a good amount of mud. The mud should not be much rocky, or it should not be quite loose, so as to ensure that we have a good vessel. The second step is data cleaning. The third step is data transformation, followed by data exploration and visualization, followed by insight reports and visual graphs. Now we will understand what is support and resistance. The first is support. So support refers to a specific price level at which stock or market index tends to find buying interest, or preventing the price from falling further. It is a technical analysis concept that represents a demand for a particular security or market. For example, in this graph, let us consider an example of gold itself, or silver. Let us consider the example of silver itself. So if I have silver prices booming, and we know that in this particular season, people will tend to buy more silver ornaments and people are collecting more silver, then this price, if this price level is known as by 5,000 rupees. This is the stock price. The stock price of silver is 5,000 rupees and it is going in upward direction. Then this is known as support level. Here it is 5,000 and people are buying the silver from the 5,000 itself, and they are not letting the price go back to 5,000. They are more interested in buying the silver at 5,000 rupees because they believe that the price is very nominal and they can invest in that particular silver. Same is the case with stock market. If a stock market has a particular stock priced at a very nominal price, which is known as its support level, and people tend to show interest in that, buying it, ensuring that the price never goes back to that level, that line is known as support line. How support works? So when the price approaches a support level, traders and investors anticipate that demand will increase. Surely, when the price reaches the 5,000 rupees, there are many traders who ensure that, yes, now we can buy this stock. This is in our range. Now we will buy, leading to an increase in demand, which makes the trend go upward. If the support level holds, it suggests that the buyers are willing to step in and prevent the price from declining further. So yes, if the support is here and the price is definitely going like this and then coming back and then going this, it is not breaching this support level line. This ensures that the buyers are interested to buy at this price itself and they don't want the price to decrease further. However, if the price level is breached, if the support level is breached, it indicates that the weakening of buyer interest. Now, if we know that people have all this, for example, suppose all the people have bought multiple stocks of the same stock. They have multiple stocks of the same company and now they don't want to buy any further stock and the price is again at the support level. So now the price will breach the support level line and go further down as there is leading to price decline and leading demand decrease. So once our support level is breached, it often becomes a resistance level. This line I'll explain further. Until and unless, just remember that once our support level is breached, it often becomes a resistance level. Now let us understand what is resistance. So resistance refers to a price level with which a stock or market index tends to encounter selling interest. It is where the supply of security is strong enough to halt or reverse an uptrend. For example, I had that silver stock which was priced at 5,000 rupees. Now the silver is going up and up and up for 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 or 25,000. When the silver is priced at 25,000, the people feel that the silver is quite overpriced and now they are not interested in buying it due to whosoever reason, various reasons. If they are not interested or they don't have that much amount of money to invest in that particular thing, the prices will surely lead to a decrease now. Now the prices will go down. And once the prices come in their range again, they will again start buying that silver again for their consumption. Same is the case with the stocks also. The stocks have a particular level which is known as their resistance, where the buyers or traders lose their interest and they generally stop buying it. Now, if the resistance level holds, it suggests that the sellers are willing to step in and prevent the price from rising further. Now, if there is a particular resistance line and it is being held by quite a long time, then it ensures that the traders don't find the stock much valuable and they want that the highest price of this particular stock should be on this level itself, preventing it from going up. If they will buy more and more, then there will be a decrease in supply, there will be more demand, and as a result, the trend will go up and up. But they don't want the thing to go so that they ensure that the resistance level remains same. However, if the resistance level is breached, it can indicate weakening of sellers' interest. Now, if this is increased, if this is breached, then the price may go further up, indicating the weakening of selling interest. Further, once a resistance level is breached, it often becomes a support level. In the previous slide, we got to know that once a support level is breached, it often becomes a resistance level. The same is for the resistance level also, that once a resistance level is breached, it often becomes a support level. Now, let us understand both these statements with the help of this following graph. This is a graph where the y-axis represents the price and the x-axis represents the date. Now, here is the support line, here is the resistance line, and once this trend process breaches the resistance line, it becomes a support line, and then we have a new resistance line. Now, let us take a simple example of gold market. The gold here is having a rate of 1,000 rupees, and it is going up and up. Soon here we have a judgment from all the traders who are trading in gold, they have a collective decision of selling the gold at a minimum price of 2,500. So now we know that no matter whatever be the condition, the price will be 2,500. Now sellers are buying it because they know that the price may go up. They are storing it for various reasons, and the price, once the price reaches quite high, around 5,000 rupees, the sellers might lose interest in buying the very same due to various reasons, and price may come down. Again, the price may go up and price may come down. The highest level is known as resistance, from where the price comes down. Now, the trend is following here, and suddenly the price crosses much high than anticipated from the resistance line. It breaches the resistance line, and now it reaches the particular point of 50,000 rupees. Here we have a landmark judgment of the government that the price of the gold will be fixed at 30,000 rupees. No matter whatever be the conditions, it will not go down beyond 30,000 rupees. So after this, once this line is breached, and after the landmark judgment of the government, this 30,000 line becomes a support line for the particular price trend. Now the support line is this resistance line, which was once a resistance line, is now a support line. And then the highest price after which the stock or gold encounters a downfall is known as resistance line. Now, validation of trend lines. What is meant by validation of trend lines? So validation of trend lines refers to a process of confirming whether a trend line drawn on a chart accurately represents the underlying price movement of a financial instrument, such as stock, currency pair, or commodity. For example, once we perform our exams, or once we write our exams, we surely double check the answers, or we double check any question we have written or any math problem we have solved, so as to ensure that we are correct. Or there are various parameters on which we check the one. If we are performing a subtraction, we will do it in the rough side of the paper to ensure that yes, we are correct. Same is the case with the trend lines. We have various parameters through which we confirm that the trend line drawn on a chart is accurate and is actually representing the underlying price movement. The points which are to be considered while validating a trend lines are number of touches. So a trend line is considered more valid if it has been touched by the price multiple times. So if we have a trend line and if we have a price chart, if the trend line is touching the price chart multiple times, then it is considered to be valid. The trend line is considered to be valid. For example, if we are doing a maths problem from method 1 and the same problem has a method 2, I perform that same problem by 2 methods, and there are some quick answer checkpoints from which I can check that yes, till this point my answer was correct, as it is coming the same from both the methods. It is correct. Same is the case with number of touches. Then is angle and slope. The angle and slope of the trend line can provide information about the strength and direction of the trend. If the slope is in positive direction, it indicates an uptrend. If the slope is in negative direction, it indicates a downtrend. Then length of time. As we all know that longer term trend lines can encompass a larger time frame, which tends to be more significant. As during the larger time, one can have more insight into the stock and they can come to know about the stock in a much better way. For example, if I consider a stock just for 2 months, I might not get a valuable insight into as to at what time the stock shows an uptrend or at what time the stock shows a downtrend. Whereas if I followed that same stock for over a year or two, I might get to know that yes, this stock follows a trend of uptrend during the time of October to November and shows a downtrend during January to February, indicating that there are certain factors behind this. Now, what are the advantages of trend line? So trend line offers several advantages. Some of them are, first is to identify the trend. This helps the traders and investors understand whether they are investing in an uptrend, downtrend, or whether there is just a sideways trend. Second is the risk management. So for one to place a stop loss just below an uptrend and just above an uptrend can help them limit their potential losses. If they have already set up their loss line and they can indicate that if the price goes beyond this, I will sell my stock, or if the price goes beyond this, I'll buy more of this stock. This can prevent the risk itself. Then market psychology insight can also be provided by trend lines. So trend lines also reveal market psychology. For example, if we have an uptrend, this can show that regardless of various factors, the particular stock is showing uptrend. For example, if we have a Coca-Cola stock and we have suddenly a judgment from any government from any particular country that we are not gonna sell any sugar drinks from now, and still the Coca-Cola stock is showing an uptrend, this might show that the traders and buyers are still interested in investing their money in the cold drink segment despite the restrictions from that particular country. The last advantage is technical analysis confirmation. So to perform technical analysis, there are various parameters. One of them is trend lines. When trend lines are used in addition with other technical indicators such as moving averages, chart patterns, these can confirm or validate trading signals and can lead to maximum possible profit for a trader. Let us move to the code to understand these trend lines better. So here is my screen. First step is to import the libraries. I have imported pandas. Then I have read the data set, followed by I have printed the head, which is to just see what is the composition of my data, the very first step. Then I have converted the date column to date time. Now in this, one can see that my index is this 0, 1, 2, 3, the naming. I have to change this index to date so as to ensure that I can plot trend lines. So I have changed my index to date. Here the index is changed to date. Now I have imported the necessary libraries for plotting the trend. And the first step was to plot the closing price over time. And here I have the HDFC Bank stock closing price over the time. The time is shown here in date, followed by the closing price in rupees on this side. Further, I have plotted the very same prices using moving averages and calculating moving averages for higher lows and lower lows using rolling window. Now, what is rolling window? Is the rolling window suggests that we use a particular text segment. For example, if I have window equals to 5, then I will use 5 components of data at a particular time. For more clarity, let us understand it by an example of a monthly data. I have a monthly data of 30 days and I have to calculate the average temperature for 7 days. So my window size will be 7. And then first I will calculate it for the first 7 days. Then I will move by 1 plus 1, which means from 1 to, first it was from 1 to 7, the average date from 1 to 7. Then it will be from 2 to 8, similarly 3 to 9 and so on. Then I have plotted up the trend using linear regression. The first step was to reshape the data for linear regression. I have reshaped the data of integer as integer type of date and from -1 to 1. Then on y-axis, I have close values. Then I have used linear regression line, as this is known as linear regression line. And this shows the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. Now I have the trend line. This linear regression line is showing my overall trend. And then I have plotted the very same using the different types of trend lines, styles and colors and labeling. This is showing an overall trend, generally an uptrend. One can see here showing an uptrend, no matter the closing price is showing an uptrend, downtrend, a downtrend followed by an uptrend and also a sideways trend. Here one can see this is a sideways trend, but generally the stock is showing overall trend of an uptrend. Further, I was asked to mark the uptrend and downtrend for a better clarity. So here I have marked it the very same. One can see here is an uptrend showing by the green line and this is shown by the downtrend by red line. Similarly, we can see the sideways trend is also there where the price is overall the same. There might be a significant little bit of changes, not much, but yes, it is showing a sideways trend. Then we have to save the plot as an image, followed by the validation of trend lines. Now we have known that the validation of trend lines, for one to validate a trend line, the trend line must touch various points. Also at the same time, one can draw a parallel line to the trend line and can validate it. So I have used the very same concept of drawing a parallel line to the trend lines and ensuring that yes, the points touch a parallel as many points as possible. Here I have used the uptrend line and downtrend line both as trend line. Then I have highest points x and y, lowest points x and y, and then I have plotted the very same. One can see on my lower downtrend, it is touching many points, validating the overall trend line. And in an uptrend also, it is touching the points, indicating that my overall trend line is correct. Let us move back to the presentation. Now the conclusion. So to conclude, I would say that plotting trend lines is a fundamental technique in technical analysis, which surely offers valuable insight into the direction and strength of price movement. The advantages of using trend lines are numerous, as stated previously. However, it is really important to understand the very fact that trend lines are not infallible. They can change. The markets are unpredictable and trend lines may even reverse or break. Therefore, traders and investors should surely use trend lines in addition to other form of technical analysis, so as to ensure that they don't have to follow any, or they don't have to face any loss. Ultimately, when applied cleverly and judiciously, trend lines can serve as a very valuable tool for market participants, aiding in their interpretation of price movements, contributing to their maximum profits. Now, if anyone at any point of time had any questions, they can ask me. Still, if they have any queries after this presentation, they can mail me on my email ID mentioned here. Here are the references from which I have taken help to make this presentation more valuable. Thank you.
So, Shubhi, are you done with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so first of all, your presentation was quite detailed. The way you explained each and every point, and the most important thing, using of examples and making up a story and then explaining each point. That was a literally good point. So this is all from my side. Do you have any questions from your side to ask?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. Okay, next we have Satendra. You can start your presentation.
Hello,
Yes, Satendra.
ma'am. I am visible or not?
Yes, you are visible as well as audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. My screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Thank you. Ma'am, this is my task 2, which is on software development lifecycle for stock trading application. And I suggested this application name is ProfitX, and I am from Java group. Today content is introduction, purpose, and introduction of SDLC and phases of SDLC, various SDLC models, and challenges and conclusion and references. So first we start from the introduction. So it is the introduction about the trading application. What is it? The trading applications, also known as stock trading app, or it is a platform. It is a software or mobile application that allow individual to buy and sell stocks as well as monitor financial market and manage their investment portfolio. These applications provide user with a user-friendly interface to access stock exchanges and execute trades. The some example of that, the Zerotha application and Grow app is using, and what the work scenario of this stock trading applications are this. The first step is we need to register in an app and link with the bank account. And the second step is set up on the deposits we can use two strategies in is one time transfer or periodic deposit. So one time transfer is like lump sum amount you can deposit, and periodic you can choose the SIP option for it. And third step is buy the stock once it and its current rate come up on the screen, and last it sell stock according to trade. Now we start what the purpose of the presentation. The creating a presentation on the software development life cycle for a stock trading application serve the purpose of explaining the systematic process that was followed to design and develop and deploy the application. It allow you to demonstrate the structure approach taken to ensure that the application meets its objective and it is reliable and maintains the security and integrity required for the stock trading. So we start introduction to SDLC. Basically, the software development lifecycle is a cost-effective and time-efficient process that development team use to design and build high-quality software measures. And SDLC is a structured framework for developing software applications. And the main objective of SDLC is to ensure the creation of high quality software that meets user requirement. And main thing is that it is delivered on the time and within the budget. And also here we check about the feasibility, economical feasibility, and legal issues feasibility, and all these things, and technical feasibility like that. So now start the phases of the SDLC. It have the several key phases. So first phase is that planning and requirement analysis, and second is system design, third is deployment, and after it we do the testing, and after testing we use deployment, and after it maintenance and support to give the client. The first phase of the SDLC is planning and requirement analysis. Requirement gathering and analysis is a critical phase in the software development lifecycle because various stakeholders participate in this stage to understand the project from the business perspective and determine if it is worthwhile investment or not. We can say that it is a feasible or not. And here we do the detailed definition. The primary goal is define the system requirement in detail and clear the understanding about it, ensure that the all team members understand the task and how requirement will be implemented in it. And also QA specialist may participate in addressing potential adjustment during the development. And also the main role in this phase is project managers roles and business analysis. The project manager define the technology and team load limitation and what the time frames and the budget, making the project decision based on the requirement. And business analyst play a crucial role by actively communicate with the client, conducting the meeting and documenting the application concept. It would be an interview or personal meeting or group discussion uh, according to the project requirement. Second phase is the system design. It is a extending planning. It means it is doing by after the first step, and it is an extension of plan from the initial phase, and it is data analysis, analyzing and systematic gathered information which are gathered from previous step, and adding the technical detail to the plane created during the requirement analysis, and architecture design system and stakeholder collaboration is also including in it. And specialists involved active contribute include software engineer, system architect, and database specialist and designers. And continuing role of business analyst and project managers. Third step is development. It is a very important, and this stage follow requirement approval, and if requirement approval approved from both previous phases, then it will start it. It is the longest phase of SDLC. All necessary information about the project is prepared and details are designed before it, and developers are tasked with the translating the requirement into the functional code and assembling them into the work infrastructure, and source code writing in doing in it, and developer write the source code based on the previously defined requirements, and administrator adjust the software environment to support the application, and front end development and back end development are doing in it, and front end programmer create the user interface and the program's logic for the server's instructions, and programming stages algorithm development, source code writing, and after it compiling the code, and after it testing and debugging. In this state, we only doing the unit testing in it. Fourth phase is the testing. Testing phase follow the development phase and include the crucial debugging process. Code flow detection, the phase identify the code flow and issue the miss during the development. And here we and check about the what the flow of the program. It is a loose coupling and tight coupling and cohesiveness and coupling, and these of things are checked in it. And it is a QA specialized roles, and documentation and report issue sending them back to developer for the resolution. And it is a iterative testing. The testing process continues iteratively until all the critical issues are resolved, ensuring stable software workflow. Uh, the activity in this phase vary based on the testing type of adopted by Q engineers, which is included in these type of testing: acceptance testing, white box testing, and gray box testing, and black box testing, and unit testing, and integration testing. Fifth phase is deployment. Releasing and deployment phase follows successful complementation of the testing phase and significance readiness for launch end users. After the initial program release, the tech support team is engaged to gather user feedback, provide consultations, and support user during the software operations. And if we take about the agile development methodology, in agile development methodology, a DevOps engineer is responsible for app release and deployment. CI and CD principles like continuous integration and continuous delivery principles are used in it, and for efficient release process. Then automatic delivery pipeline including in it, and source coding management, and code containerization and configuration management. All responsibilities are on DevOps engineers in it. After it, in this phase, we use the tools and technologies like Jenkins and Docker, Git, or other technologies. The last phase of the SDLC is maintenance and support. After completing the software and testing and deployment, we give the uh, facility to maintenance and support. It involves primary aspect to do two aspect of this phase: supporting existing functionality and adding new features in it. And maintenance agreement often establish defining the responsibility of the software provider. It outlets support for existing features, detail about the online consultation and client visit, suitable contact times, and frequency of the software updates. And a technical side involve a project manager analyzing feedbacks and assigning the bug fixes and updated to developer. Major update follow particular schedules given by the company, and minor changes are implemented by the DevOps engineer regularly. And resilient release and deployment. Um, DevOps specialists play a role in planning and scheduling and executing releases of this maintenance and support phase. As these are some SDLC models. So what the SDLC model? Uh, SDLC model is a systematic and structured approach to software development, outlining the various stages and activities involved in designing, developing, testing, and deploying the maintaining and software application of systems. SDLC models serve as a blueprint or managing and organizing the software development process, ensuring that it is efficient and well structured and result in high quality product. Then first model is waterfall model. In waterfall model, first step is requirement and design, and after it development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. It is a very easy and progress through the phase in a linear and sequential order in it, and which each phase building upon the previous one. If first phase is completed, now we doing next phase, and we need to require well-defined and stable requirement before the starting the development in it. Limited customer involvement in it until the final product is delivered. It we can say it is a disadvantage of this model, and minimal room for changing the requirement once phase is completed. If we completed the one phase in it, we cannot uh, do uh, we cannot do anything in previous stage. Advantage of this waterfall model: it is define the clearly defined phases and deliverable, make it easy to understand and manage the project, and easy to manage, and it is ideal for small projects where unchanging requirement, and or we can say that we need to make a or develop a medium sized project, we use the waterfall model. Second is iterable model. It is the advanced model of waterfall, but the iterative model is in HDLC is characteristic by its cyclic approach, allowing for incremental development and refinement. Here we go one step, and we can back to previous step for refinement and uh, doing the refinement. Advantage of this iterative model is, and development occur in the repeated cycle, each building upon the previous one, allowing increasement progress, uh, adapt to changing the requirement or customer feedback with each iteration. It is the advantage of it, and identify and addresses risk early in the development process, reducing the chance of major issue or later stages, and frequent customer involvement lead to better understanding of their needs and expectations, and it all things reduce the project failure, because by addressing issue early and continually improving the product, and risk of the project failure is minimized. Suitable for complex project, particularly effective for complex project with evolving or unclear requirement. When we have a requirement is not clear, we need to use the iterative models. Last is spiral model. It is a very good and it is an advanced model. Iterative and risk driven. Develop the project incrementally with a strong focus on the risk assessment and mitigation. The first step is in it objective, determine and identify the alternative solution, it is present or not. And second step is identify and resolve the risk. And third is third phase is in it develop the next version of the product. And fourth last and reviews and plan for the next phase. After it we start from first phase and continuous defining the process. The four main phases in it: planning, risk analysis, engineering, and evaluation. And each cycle involve planning, designing, and constructing and evaluating. Continuous risk assessment and management make it suitable for complex and large scale projects. Advantage of it: systematic approach for identifying and addressing project risk, and it provides the flexibility, allow for iterative development and accommodate changes. User involvement: frequent user feedback throughout the development is occurring in all phases, and emphasis on producing the high quality product, and it is a well suitable for the large project, particularly effective for a large and complex and mission criticals. The last is agile model. Agile model, agile is an iterative and incremental approach to software development, emphasizes adaptability to changing the requirement throughout the project, and promote the close collaboration among the cross-functional terms include developer, tester, and business stakeholders. And it is a centric, focus on the delivering value to user in short and frequent iterations. Advantage of this model is continuous user feedback leads to higher customer satisfaction, and can easily accommodate changing the project requirement, and short development life cycle in quicker product release, and frequent testing and feedback help migrate the risk early in the project, and it maximize team productivity and effect efficiency through close collaboration in it. Continuous testing and integration led to higher software quality, and stakeholders have clear visibility into project progress. So when we create the trading application, some challenges are occur in it. If you have an authorized brokerage business and want to expand into mobile market, the legalities challenges will be easier to solve. But in case of startup or newly stabilized company, you have to think over the legal issue beforehand. These are the some challenges in it. As a stockbroker, you will deal with the securities and money. Therefore, you will need to obtain license from the regulatory body in India, SEBI. SEBI is a Securities and Exchange Board of the India, which deal with the all security purpose funds and trading applications and trading bodies. Join the investor protection program to increase the credibility. Follow rules that guarantee to protection of consumer sensitive data. And always go for the multi-factor authentication and AI-based fraud prevention technique. And secure application programming interface use in it. You integrate with the help of as third parties. The conclusion of this presentation is overall we develop a powerful and versatile platform that provide user with a convenient and secure way to trade stock online. It will using Java, ensuring that it is a highly responsive and scalable and secure application. The application is designed to be highly customizable, and making it suitable for use by financial institutions of all sizes. And these are the references which I use in it. Thank you. If you have any question, please ask me.
Okay, Satendra, are you done with your presentation?
Yes.
So you have not included the technical part, like you have started working on your project.
No, ma'am. It is just presentation about the SDLC. I have
Okay.
not. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you will, from your next task, you will start working on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, rest your presentation was good as well as your flow was also maintained. So
Yes,
from
ma'am.
your side, do you have any questions to ask?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. Okay, next we have Kanchana. You can start your presentation.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Kanchana.
Am I audible and visible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible as well as visible.
Yeah. Actually, ma'am, I was asking you something, right?
Yes, yes.
Can I ask now or after the presentation?
As you wish, you can ask now also.
Okay. So, actually, what I'm asking is, I have completed the 2 months of probation, ma'am.
Okay.
But I didn't get any update regarding that. That's what I was thinking about. And what was my case is, I thought that there should be, is there any clause that we should uh, reach 70% or isn't there anything?
Means on your intern tracker, where your probation section is it showing that you are eligible for paid internship?
No, ma'am, it's under the probation yet. It's not showing any updation of
Okay, it's showing that it's still under probation.
that. Yeah,
And your
that's why I didn't understand, ma'am. I have 60 days of attendance already.
okay, so you mailed at ID to support at the @hackweather.in.
Yeah, ma'am, I have mail. Yeah, I have mail. It's been a week, more than a week, ma'am. I have mail, and that's why I'm just waiting for the update.
Okay, okay. So, okay, I will give your request to management once. You can write your mail
Okay,
further.
ma'am.
One एक बार और mail लिख देना. बाकी I will talk to
Okay.
management. Okay.
Yeah, take it. Sure, ma'am.
Okay.
And what I am thinking was, if there is any clause that we should reach 70, one of the score, like all the scores, two of them are 69. It's just on the border, and one is 67 and one is 71. So maybe because of that, I'm trying to improve for the like every of my presentations. So if that may be the clause, I'm okay with that. Like I'll improve myself. But if not that, you just provide me like ask any update regarding that.
Okay.
Or I'll just mail them once again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Will that be okay? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not I'm not understanding why like we stopped at 69 since last two presentations. That's why I'm asking you. Please don't mind me.
Okay, okay, okay. You can start your presentation.
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, ma'am.
yes.
Yeah. A very good evening, ma'am. My name is Kanchana. I have completed my graduation in electrical and electronics engineering at JNTU Nasaropet, which is Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University. And I'm an intern from Embedded Systems and IoT at Hackweather Limited. So the task is I have given was data storage and management. So these are a sequence of tasks that I have been giving. The first one is how to monitor the quality by using a quality monitor. After that, the efficiency to calculate all this components have done. We have hardware connection, prototype. Everything was covered in the previous sequence of presentations. And this is mainly how we store data after taking the data from air quality. Like after measuring the parameters in the air, how we store data. That is the main concept of today's presentation, and how we manage that data, how we store, how we utilize that, and what are the requirements to store, why do we need to store, all the things will be covered in this presentation. So let's go with the content. These are the introduction and brief on we'll see on data storage and management. After that, we'll see the significance and what are the applications for this. And we'll explain what are the devices we use to store. After that, how to connect the devices for the storage purpose and what are all the working principles that each storage device carries and what are the other types of devices we have to store. We'll finish with conclusion and what is the scope in future if you wanted to extend this project.
So firstly, introduction. Actually, to retain the data, not only in this air quality monitor prototype, for every project or for every even a minor thing, since it may start from any household to any big project, we need to store data, right? So for no matter what the application is, the data storage is utmost important, because if we want anything back, like if we have done something or if we have done an action, only if we have the data or the memory, we can just regain it or we can retain it for our future purposes. If we don't have any such data storage or I don't have any memory means, how can we just recollect that? How can we just do the further proceedings regarding that work? So for that, data storage is really important. In the real-time applications also, we see every day, everywhere, data storage or even a small like household or any small shop or every even small business, they start they store data. Even as school going kids also, they need to store some data regarding their own, like the application may be different, the way to store may be different, but the final goal of everyone is to store data, utilize it properly, and to manage it and to use it whenever they want in the future applications. Similarly, for any projects, while coming to our air quality monitor, if we want to collect the data from past 2 years, then why do we need, like, what should we do if we don't have any previous data? I'll explain it in the significance line also. So in that case, if we want to use the data which has been already measured or already collected, we need this data storage. So like in normal ways, like by in schools or any like in office purposes, many people use Excel sheets or many they use some in the olden days, they used to use registers and all to store the data. Even for our attendance purpose, in every place, they use data storage. But now the generation has been upgraded so that we can have a lot of uh, lot of applications, lot of methods to store the data. So we have different forms of data storage: object, file, and block. They are for different purposes. They serve different kind of purposes in our data storage. And coming to digital information preservance, there are different types again. One is magnetic, another one is optical, and the third one is mechanical media. Also, what are the types of digital information? Why need, like, how we need to access the data after storage or before storage? How we need to access it? How we communicate with the storage device to store the data, or how we communicate with the storage device to provide the data which has been already stored. So this is the case that we need to consider in the types of digital information. That is input and output data. We all know input data, output data. We're all very familiar with computers, PCs, laptops in today's world. So we can say that computer itself can't provide any data. It can't even take any data. Only with the monitor, we can't do anything. We need to have input devices, output devices like keyboard, mouse, printer, scanner. These are all the input and output devices which we can communicate with through the through those devices. We can communicate with the computer. Similarly, in these kind of like embedded systems projects, we also have some devices which are programmed by low-level programming languages. Also, they are having their inbuilt features in which we need to change the similar small features for each and every device to get the required output. So we can go through all of them. Yeah. So firstly, significance of the project. What is the main significance? Actually, you may say we have RAM to store, or even in RAM, we have many kind of things like a dynamic RAM, synchronous dynamic RAM, etc. So they are all used for storage purposes, right? But they are also limited by cost, space, and memory retention. See, if there is a power off, and if we want to access the data immediately, then the device may not retain its data if the power is off, or else if the data has been stored in it but it's not being saved, so how can we access that? So that kind of applications, that to an embedded system, we have some efficient data storage devices, and one of them was these kind of devices. So these kind of devices are like, even if the power is off, when the power is gone, the memory can be stored. It automatically gets its backup. Also, it can pull data backwards, like from the storage device. So today's world, we can see artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, etc. So for that purposes also, we need a lot of data storage. We need a lot of backup, and everything should be there, right? So to avoid failures and all, we need. So for that system. And one more thing I have said, why to store the data means, if we collect the air quality on 1st of October, let's say. So on the 1st of October, suddenly the level of nitrogen in the air is so drastic that it's not like before day, before week, before month. It's not like that. It has been changing drastically, and the graph has been changing. Like it's not at all linear. It's so much non-linear. The waves also changing drastically. So what we can say is, the person who is monitoring data constantly from the past 1 month or 2 months were like, they may get what like what is happening. They may not know what is happening. They only the people who are scientific, who are having knowledge in both scientific and chemical terms, can decide what's happening. But a normal person cannot do. So in that cases, what is the only difference is we need to go for the previous year data. And before like 2 3 years prior to the data which we have been measured. For example, 1st October 2023 was the data measured. It has been changed. It has a lot of changes. So he needs to check for 1st October 2022, 1st October 2021, and 1st October 2020. So that what he can gain is, okay, the season is changing. Maybe that may be the reason. That may be one of the top reasons. Season may be changing. So due to the change in the climatic conditions, the nitrogen levels may change. If the person is a fresher in that domain, he may not have that particular knowledge. So maybe he is measuring some data. How he can know? By having the previous knowledge. Also, not only for this kind of applications, if any school, like college going students kind of, they do a lot of internships and a lot, right, in their third year, like in their 7 semesters, like that, they do a lot of internships. So while doing internships, while students are creating their own data, or else they are providing some application in, like they are giving their own ideas for already existing projects, right? So for example, in our case, we have taken a project which has been already existed, like already executed. The results were also very, like, result was okay, but we have been given a different approach for the similar project. Similarly, students may do these kind of projects. So for this, they need some previous data, they need some reference. Not only students, any kind of domain for scientists or any big companies which may work on this can also have the reference as this data storage. So data storage is not only required for general purpose. For these kind of embedded systems, IoT projects, the data storage is utmost important. Computers also need data storage. We can see there are a lot of backup drives so many members use to get their data back. In our mobile also, we can have the backup options and all. So we can see there are various sources, there are various devices to store the data and manage them, to retrieve them. What efficiently we use, what exactly suits this kind of system is used here. And here, uh, if we see, as I have said, AI, ML, IoT are like they are also needing a lot of data in, like today's generation. So for all these cases, to avoid fraud, failure, and any disasters from the data loss, we can proceed with this. Similarly, organizations can also have data storage as backup solution. So if they connect some data storage device along with the device they are using, like we have seen in the air quality monitor, we use an SD card or any EEPROM device or any, like we transfer all the data into a pen drive, then we transfer that data into a PC or a laptop or concerned person's device, so that it may not get any fault, any failure. Even if it's set, we can have a clarity on what's happening and we can have a reference of what we are doing. So first is the SD card. So two devices have been assigned to me to explain about this. So first is SD card in them and second one is EEPROM. So firstly, this memory card is used for transferring data. We all know means it transfers data from a standard SD card or to a standard SD card. So first is it has been interfaced along with an Arduino. It is also it can be also interfaced with a microcontroller, but we have chosen Arduino here. And what it is means, we can add a lot of storage to it. No matter what, we can have, like we all know how much data storage can be accessible to a memory card like that. So with that, we can add a mass storage to it, and data can be logged at any time, at any point of time, or at any situation. So I have made a document to explain in brief about these devices. So let me share you that also, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, did you say
I was
something?
actually
Yes.
yeah, ma'am. I was opening my document.
Oh, yeah, actually, I cannot see it still.
Yeah, ma'am, it's loading actually. I was just exchanging the screen from the presentation to the document.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And now I can see.
Now is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, now it's visible.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So to proceed with the data storage with micro SD card, what we have, we'll proceed with the like what are the steps to follow to connect Arduino to our SD card, to connect that to our air quality monitor, and to transfer the data, also to get the data in our management system. So firstly, we have there are there are the prescribed voltage for the input, that is 3.3 to 5 volts. Also, there are some prescribed pins. There are 4 to 5 pins in our Arduino to SD card or interfacing. The 5 important pins are, so here we have a master and a slave. Firstly, master output and slave input are the first pin. Master input, slave output is the second pin. And chip select is the third pin. Serial clock is the fourth pin. And voltage input and ground are the common pins that we have for every other device. So firstly, we'll go with the pin configuration. So what do we need is, as it transfers the data from one device to another device, we need to maintain all the device connections proper. So firstly, the VCC, which is 5 volts, should be connected to the Arduino input. Secondly, the ground should be connected to the ground of the Arduino and the SD card pin. And 14th pin should be connected to the 11th pin of the Arduino. And chip select pin and the serial clock pin are to be interfaced. And finally, we should insert the source code. These are the steps. So after that, what we should make is, we can read and write in this Arduino. We all know that by the programming, we can read and write this Arduino, like what's inside the Arduino. We can even get input, give input and get the output. And second one is using the SPI interface, we are communicating with it. So we need to have a push pop socket in the Arduino board itself, so that we can even push the socket whenever we want to insert the SD card. Otherwise, we can just remove it, or we can interface it with any other device like microcontroller or any. Even in a normal device, also we can interface that SD card and we can read the data. We can have it. We can use it for any application. So the Arduino size is 42 mm by 22 mm by 5 mm. And what is the micro SD card module? So we have seen the pin connections, as I have said. The 14th pin has to be connected to the serial clock. 13th pin is the master output slave input, which is connected to the pin 11 of the Arduino. And master input slave output is connected to the pin 12 of the Arduino. Then it is connected with the power supply usually, and the coding has to be inserted in it. And VCC and the ground pins are most common. We do it for every other device. And coming to the data storage using EEPROM. So this is the pin connection using the SD card and the Arduino. I'll show you the circuit diagram in the PowerPoint, ma'am. So this is the data storage using EEPROM. So as I have said, there are some basic features which we have to follow to connect this EEPROM and the Arduino board. So Arduino board, we have used this ATmega T28P. There are other microcontroller options also, but why we have chosen this means it interfaces with this EEPROM betterly. And coming to EEPROM, that is 24LC512. There are also a lot of versions, and based on the data retention, we have selected it. And we need a crystal breadboard to connect the devices, and a resistor and a capacitor to make the RC resonance output. And coming to pin connection. So how we connect the pins in this Arduino board. So we can directly move to the pin diagram. I'll explain the pin connections here itself. Yeah. So in the EEPROM pin connections, firstly we have 8 dual input output package in the pin connections. Here we can see. So 8 dual input output means we'll have 32 pins in total. And we have the protection pin at 7. This is the VCC pin. And we have ground pins at 8 and 22. We have reset pin, receiving pin, and transmission pin, which are 1, 2, 3. This is exchanging for telecommunications, that is for 9 and 10. As I have said, we need capacitors. So C1 and C2 are the capacitors that we need. And we have a analog to digital converter, which is for 23 to 28. We have seen in the air quality monitor explanation also, there are some sensors which may give output either in digital or analog base. So if the value has before below the prescribed level, it will give the output in the analog form. If it is in above the prescribed level, it will give in digital form. So if it gives an analog form, it will just convert into digital and it will send it to the receiver here. So these are two resistors here, R1 and R2. This has been given to the SDL and SDC of the system view. And these are interrupt pins, INC0 and interrupt 1. So interrupt 0 is the first, it has many interrupts. This will activate, and when this pin activates, something like there are preferable inputs or considerable inputs or non-considerable inputs. If the interrupt is really important, then the system will stop working and it fulfills that interrupt. After that, it will work. But if there are no interrupts, so it works normally. After that, there are some analog inputs, A in 1 and A in 0, and these are the transmission pins for this receiving pins, P0 and P0. And next, in the here also, when we connect to our system, we have another input pins. So it has been connected to PV, PC, PD. Just for our for clarification, it is C block, D block, and D block. For every block, we have interrupts. For every block, we have transmission and receiving pins, which is easy for communication. So the SDL and SGC are connected to the 6 and 5 pins of the EEPROM, and ground pin is connected to 8 and 22. The protection pin is provided at 7. Also, it is the address pin which is having provided at 1, 2, and 3. So what we should do, we have to read and write the data from EEPROM. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So here it is, ma'am, the connections of Arduino, which I have said previously. So these two are the resistors which we use for in the block diagram. We have seen resistors, right? So these two are resistors, and this is the oscillator, and this is the Arduino board. Similarly, we connect the 8 and 22 pins to the ground and the resistor pins to the 9 and 10 pins. After that, we connect the resistance to the positive and negative ground. These are the interrupt pins and receiver and transmitter pins. This is the connection for the Arduino. And how do we write something from the Arduino? So writing something in EEPROM. So writing something in EEPROM means it happens in 3 basic steps. First thing is the MSB has to be sent where we want to write, and LSB has to be sent where we want to write to the memory address. Finally, we should send the data byte at that memory location so that the data will be sent into the and the data has been written. Similarly, to read something from an EEPROM, what do we do is reading from an EEPROM basically follows a 3-step process as I have said for reading. Similarly, here, firstly, the most significant bit should be sent where we have to read from, and the LSB also where we have to read from, we should have to send it to the memory address. And last, we need to ask for the data byte from which we want the data from. So next thing is saving data in DBMS. So we all know that firstly we should connect Arduino to a local network to save the data in DBMS. So the database management system helps in a lot of ways. Firstly, it helps us to create something, or it helps us to update, delete, read. We have SQL or any many options into the database systems to use them. So firstly, we can store, we can monitor the data, and we can receive the data, or else we can just upload the data which has been taken from our center. So for all these applications, this can be apply easily to a database. So similarly, we can also uh, improve the working of the DBMS just by adding a little more code to the Arduino system. So we have the algorithm of how to store the data in DBMS by having just using Arduino. So here, yeah. So the first step is we need to connect Arduino to the local network, as I have said. And second step is we need to prepare the database. So before preparing the database itself, how can we know for which we are using that particular database for? So we need to create the database first. Second thing is we need to create the names for the testing for which application we are using it, or else for we need to create a namespace in the database. Second thing, and third thing is you need to select the privileges. So if you select that option, we will get an add user option after that immediately. So from the add user option, what we can do is we can select the Arduino as the option, because we can interface it with any microcontroller or any other device, or RC582, any of the devices. But only if we use UART or CAN or any EEPROM, we can or Arduino, we can select what is the device we are interfacing with. So we need to select Arduino because we are using Arduino here. And then next we need to choose SQL. After choosing SQL, the interface is like the option selection will be completed, and then it will ask you to just go. You just go after that. Then what do we need is we need to create a table in which we can have the different timestamps. So in for different timestamps, what is the data has been stored for this date, for this time, for this uh, uh, particular data, like for measuring carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide or whatever it is, the data will be automatically stored. And for that timestamp, we can easily update each and every parameter into the data. Then we need to write it accordingly. The data will be stored accordingly from the Arduino board, and we have hello ma'am.
Yes, yes, Kanchana.
Yeah, the screen
I guess there is some
is
network
actually
issue.
loading. I'll continue explaining. After that, I'll show you the steps now.
Yes, yes. Actually, there is some network issue from your side, I guess. Your voice is also little breaking while you're speaking.
No, ma'am, actually, network is good. The word is not responding actually.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I'll just continue explaining the step now.
Actually, I can still see that. Are you on the step 2? Prepare the database.
Yeah. Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get you.
I was asking, you are in on that page only. Step 2, prepare the database. Hello. Are you able to hear me? Kanchana? Kanchana.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, I guess there is
I
network
think
issue.
the
I cannot hear you.
word is not responding properly.
Actually, your voice is breaking while you are speaking. I guess there is
Because it has
network
been up on
issue.
the same.
Hello. Are you able to hear me, Kanchana?
Yeah. So I'll just continue. explaining whenever it, like I think it just put it in like 20 to 30 seconds. After that, I just hold the screen and explain you the step. Now I continue explaining whatever I'm explaining currently.
See, actually, I can
Yeah.
see
So
that
you're only able to visible my word screen, ma'am, or the PowerPoint screen.
actually your voice is breaking, so I'm not able to understand what you are saying. As well as on your screen, I can see the deactivation version of your word, means it's not activated. Like I can see the light is green, like your word is not responding.
Sorry, ma'am.
Hello. Hello, Kanchana, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, ma'am. Now I'm able to hear you.
Okay, so I was
Yeah,
saying,
ma'am. Now I'm able to hear you.
yes, I guess there is a net issue from your side because your voice is breaking too much while you are speaking.
Okay. Is it okay now, ma'am? Or is it still like that?
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Can I continue like this, ma'am? Like I've just logged in using my mobile.
Okay, okay, you can continue like this. But
Yeah.
your screen, I can see, it still means your word is not responding. Page only I can see.
Okay. I'll just leave that, ma'am. I'll share the screen from the mobile itself.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. So I'll continue explaining. I have already shared the screen. It's loading, ma'am. So uh, So yeah, saving data in DBMS. So how we do is, firstly we should connect the Arduino to the local area network, so or the local device which we are doing, and the data should be we need to prepare a database later.
Sorry,
So
Kanchana,
how
but
we prepare a database means first.
sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah,
your
ma'am.
screen is still not shared.
Yeah, ma'am. I'm just trying to share it.
Yes, please. Do it little fast.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah. Is it visible now, ma'am?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay. Okay, so we can continue with the data saving in the DBMS. So how we can save the data means, firstly we need to connect the Arduino with our local network, then we need to prepare the database. So how we can prepare the database means, we need to create a file in the database, and we need to save it using .Arduino extension. After that, we need to select the tab privileges. In that, we can have an access for add user. So for the add user, we can have a lot of options in which communication we are using for, whether it be UART or CAN or RT485 or microcontroller or any Arduino. So for the different boards, we can have different options. Here, while you are using Arduino, we have to select Arduino itself. So after choosing the name Arduino, we have to select Arduino test as the next option, so that we can have the save with DBMS file. And if you click on go, we can just ready to start the file saving. So there should be another many questions in that dialog box we can have. For example, here we pick all the, we need to give access to options, and we need to all in order to save this. And there is the Arduino, and we need to give it a password so that only we can access it. Also, if you select go, we are ready to do it. And next is create table. So for create table, why we are creating table means we need to, like we all know, it's a, if it is in a table form, it will be easier for accessing. So for what time, for what is the application, like for what date, and for what kind of gas it is doing the rating. So for example, let us consider carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen, oxygen are the parameters here we are considering. So for in the date, time, and year, we need to give as a timestamp, and the table has to be with the sufficient rows and columns. Then we can proceed with the data collecting from the sensors of the air quality monitor. From that sensors, the analog to digital converters may work, and the data may be multiplied with the multiplying factors, if any, in between. That data will be stored into this SD card by this interface. And the third step will be, we need to capture the data, or what if we want to receive the data from the database after saving it. So we need to write underscore data.php is the command to write the data, or else to access the data from the or to retrieve the data from the database. And fourth step is, we need to write the Arduino code. So there are, this is the algorithm we use to write the data or code for the Arduino. Firstly, we need to use the IP address. So this is the IP address for this 80 mega Arduino we have used, that is 192.168.192.168.0.16. And we need to use the similar like symbols here. We shouldn't use any comma or semicolons. We used to only enter this IP address. And also we need to enter the in photo cell pin. We have to enable it, we have to disable it so that it is equal to 0. And next is, what we have to do is, we place our what will be the reading server of the sensor, that connection will be placed on the IP address, so that it can be directly interface the data that is receiving from the Arduino board, and it is sending directly to the data sheet. Next is serial.begin. Serial.begin is the begin to begin the serial connection between the computer and the Arduino board. And why we use serial communication means there are no other components in between. So directly the data can be retrieved from the Arduino board, from the device to the computer. So if there are any parallel communication interfaces, or if there are any other topology other than bus topology, we don't have, then we may not have this kind of fast communication and fast data transfer. Only with the serial communication, then we can have the bits of data is transferring in a faster rate when compared to other type of communication. And coming to the void loop, we all know for every Arduino, we need to enclose the main part of data into that void loop. So that is, fill the sensor reading with the information from the sensor. So whatever the sensor, we have the BME sensor for temperature, and for the MQ135 sensor for identifying which kind of gas is measuring, for dust particles, PQ sensor. So we all have that kind of sensor for directly measuring the data, and that sensor should be connected with the server of this page. Arduino has to be interfaced with that. Then we should select on the client.print, like we should give the client.print command after that photo cell reading command, because that reading of every cell, every component at every particular time will give us the request to access it and to interface that with the system. And that is the part of GET request, which is host.ip address. So if we are using a different IP address, for example XAMPP, we'll have to find out the IP address for that also. So if we have the similar IP address for both the operations, we can proceed easily. And coming to the void loop again, here the photo cell reading has to be taken, and that is for analog purpose. So if we use analog, we should select analog read photo cell here. Otherwise, it can be digital. Then the sensor reading should be filled with the information from the sensor. Like the sensor reading should be given accurately for each and every sensor, and that has to be connected to the server of the Arduino. And coming to the next thing, the data.php file will be the right folder to save all these commands into the Arduino board, into the SD card. So from that, we can connect it to our PC or any other device to store the data and retrieve it. Finally, displaying data is the fifth step. So to display the data in the DBMS, we need to make that PHP web page, read data from it, and we need to refresh it for every few seconds, because it's a continuous process. Like how much time the Arduino the air quality monitor measures the data, it continuously gives the data to the SD card. It continuously gives the data to the PC. So these three are to be interfaced at a proper time and at proper sequence. Otherwise, the data may not be edited. So not refreshing it, like for example, 851 m is showing some kind of data. If you're not refreshing it even at 8:55 or 9 o'clock, it will show in the same data. So how can you finalize that this data is changing in these kind of parameters, like, or the graph is linear or not linear? You can't decide without refreshing it. Not only in this thing, like in the measurement of sensors also, we need to reset the sensors after every other operation, so that only we don't have any baggage carried by the previous operations. So this is the final step to interface that data to the DBMS along with these devices, storage devices. And next is CRUD operations, which are already called as CRUD operations. So it's an acronym for create, read, update, and delete. We all know what does it mean in general, right? Create, read, update, and delete are these are the generalized terms we use for every other application. So in this also, it has the same kind of use. In the air quality monitor, when we measure the data, when we set into a DBMS, we need to create the data to a new record to get the data for avoiding any mixation with the previous files. So for the create command or create operation, it adds a new record to database. So it can be operated in any volatile storage devices, for example, RAM or cache files or any. It can be used extensively in any kind of database applications. So in the RDBMS, if you take, it takes a, well, the columns are called as attributes or fields, while the rows are called as records. So it adds every new record when we give every new operation, like for every new timestamp, it can create every new attribute. So similarly, NoSQL also we can use for that. If the NoSQL is being used, then the document formed will be added to the collection of the equivalent RDBMS system. So similarly, next one is read. Read means it returns the record, or else what we have, read means we can have the command itself returns the records. Records means the data which is present in the rows. So it will be based on some search criteria. If we search something, it will just return the data we want. Or if we want from only rows, it can only give for rows. But if you want for fields also, like columns also, it will return for that also. So next is update. Update means modifying. We know that update stands for modifying or making any modifications, doing improvements or decrements in data, or to change the multiplying factors, to change the data from analog to digital operation. Maybe the update means it will just update or modify the existing data. It will not add any, like, it will not be done operation. It will be done only on the existing application. And similarly, delete. Delete means to remove the record from the database. Record doesn't mean the row here. Any record, like any kind of row or column, any kind of data, it can be directly removed. So, for example, if an employee left the company, then the company has to remove the payroll of the company in the payroll of the entire employee sheet. So from that, they can directly remove that particular employee's payroll. They may not be like remove everyone's and they start listing everyone's who are working currently. They can't do it, right? They just remove one name itself. So like that kind of operations we have in our equality monitors. For example, if we measure any data and if we lag in any kind of data, if we lag in any kind of data, we'll just go back and check in the data. But if we are not mistaken in that particular point, then we realize that we delete it and we continue the other operations. So this kind of the applications can be explained regarding the delete operation. And this is a small block diagram. We need to create an account, update an account, delete an account, and read an account. So everything has a link with the other two operations also. See, we can have create with update, update with read, update with create, delete with update. So every other operation may not be performed in a sequence. If we have any operation to do, we can just perform it directly. And there are some SQL commands in the RDBMS if the CRUD operations has to be done or performed. So first thing is we create insert into. To create, we need that insert into command. So the values can be directly, or the table name or the values can be inserted. And for the select, we need read select field, and from table name, that where is the condition for the that we have used for the create, we can use that condition and to select that. And update table name, it will be under the symbols. We need to recognize that, and between that symbols we need to update the table name. So what is the table name we have created, we need to update that, we need to delete that, we need to read that. So that table name only has been going through all these operations in the RDBMS. Similarly, to delete from table name. So there is a condition, that the braces are the condition in which it represents that the operation is being performed in the file which is mentioned in between them. And how we test the CRUD operations. If we have, for example, if we have an high quality data, how we can test or how can we justify the data monitoring is done properly, or the sensors are working properly? How can we just how can we just modify it, and how can we just come to a clarity that okay, this data can be saved, this data can be used for the practical purposes or any research purposes, etc. We need to check. So what we have done there is we have like intentionally created some disturbances in the air quality regarding oxygen, nitrogen, and any some gases or the petroleum, etc. That kind of gases we also have released, and we have just checked in the previous presentations, right? So similarly, in the CRUD operations, we use data in ourselves. Like we make the modifications by ourselves, so that we can check what are the differences that has been observing. So it is a black box tested. Similarly, we can have at the backend database, we can just change the code itself, so that what are the intended changes are made into the code, so that we can observe what are the changes that are returning from that output. Similarly, if we have to check the delete command, we can delete it intentionally for reading, updating, creating, or also we can modify any of the things unknowingly, like even before the system knowing, we can update anything, or before giving any information in the code, you can directly delete or directly update. And system automatically will turn into the particular application, right? The particular action. So we may just then come to a clarity that, oh, if we are asking to delete, it is deleting. So then we can have a clarification on that. These are some of the tests that we have performed. And the data management is the final thing. How we can manage the data. See, after storing, that is the 50% of the task has been completed, but only after the managing and only after the retrieval of data properly, when we need it, is the data management, is the final stage of completing a task. So to complete it, actually, why do we need data management? Means to make it easily accessible, to make it work even more efficiently, to make it increase the performance of both itself and for the other devices which are connected within. Also, it can be used to increase the productivity of an employee, because we can directly use the storage data, or we can know different kind of technologies to manage data. That is one of the thing which will be helpful in the data management domain. So there will be some policies, there will be some connected things in the data management which we have to follow, and that main goal is to help people or organizations to directly read the data or access the data, so that they can make decisions. Like if we don't have any data, means we can't make quick decisions, because if as I have said in the previous example, if we don't have any previous data for what is happening on today, like for 1st of October, the data was changing drastically. So if we don't have any such reference for the last 2-3 years, we don't have any clarity on what's happening tomorrow. So only if we have such clarifications, we can proceed with the next step that, okay, this is due to climatic conditions, or this is due to some of the other reasons, some natural calamities, or some industries may blow up, industries may release a lot of chemicals. Maybe that industry has worked on that kind of chemical on that particular day, so that the nitrogen content will increase. So with that, we can have an idea on what we are doing, how we are making it like that. So it is like a backup. So data storage is like a backup. So when we have the data management properly, when we know how to retrieve the data from the data storage system, we can easily access data, we can easily proceed with our further applications also. So why air data? So why air data assists a wide range of people, as I have said, in the academic, health, research, or any kind of domains. It helps. It both helps in the finding what is the change in the atmosphere, also why it is changing. So what is the change will help in the for weather reports and for observing the climatic conditions. For the people who are working on these kind of projects, they can use the data of what are the changing in the data, what are the parameters that are changing in the data, and why it is changing can be identified by the chemical engineers or the scientists who are working on these kind of projects. So it can be helpful for both the domains, also for academics or any person doing an experiment on air quality or any chemical component that is changing in the atmosphere constantly. They can make a graph on it. They can make change, like they can observe the change, what is happening, and they can make a note of it. Finally, they can have a proper application of what is happening in today's world regarding this kind of task or this kind of factory or this kind of application. So this is a small diagram in which we can see data ingestion, data processing, data placement, data storage, resource management, and metadata management. So all these things will be coming in the same same platform. The way we access it differs, and also one thing is here we can directly access the data, we can manage the data, so that we can, how easily we can manage the data is how we can retrieve it, and how easily we can use for our future applications. So let me conclude with the conclusion and the future scope, ma'am. So what is the future scope? See, here we are using currently Arduino and microcontroller. They may, we may get a lot of devices in future also, which help us in getting this kind of data storage or the data management or the data interfacing with one device to another device. Not only in the air quality monitoring, but also in any other device, for any other application, for any other project, we can have this kind of applications. We can have this kind of devices to work as such. So for one thing, the cloud storage is very important today. AWS cloud storage, that kind of, whether new technologies are improving, the core domain like electronics, embedded systems, they also have to develop equally to compete with the IT domains, so that we can use that IT skills into the core applications where we can make our processes much more easier. So this is a very good project which can have a lot of scope in future, so that we can retrieve data. We can, by using that kind of, it helps in two ways actually. It helps to core domain by using IT skills. It can help IT domain by using the core knowledge of the data, like how the core working is done, how the measuring is done by sensors or this Arduino. These all will be help to store the data in any other project also. So from that artificial intelligence and all, we can get even more better applications in future, so that we can insert different kinds of codes in different languages for different interfaces and applications also. So this is a really good project which we have a lot of scope in future. And coming to the conclusion, we have seen different methods what we have used to connect the Arduino board with the data storage devices, or to connect the air quality sensors with the data storage devices. Next is for both core and IT kind of applications, this project helps a lot. So this is the conclusion that we can give, that we can also use, this is not the end, we can also use this for many kind of applications. So if we know how to operate, how to connect it, and how to interface it with other kind of devices, for not only this kind of this air quality project, but we can do it for any other project, right? So we need to know about the pin configuration and the data in which we need to interface this device with. So this helps in that kind of application. And these are the references that I have used for doing this presentation. And yeah, if we have any questions, you can just ask me. This is my mail ID. And thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, so are you done with the presentation, Kanchana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as always, your presentation is quite detailed and explained each and every point, as well as the way of explaining first presentation and then making the document of it. That is literally a quite good approach. Yeah, I want to ask that when you joined Hekveda.
On the 16th of August, ma'am.
Okay, 16th of August. Okay, fine. So I will give your request to management and I will let you know whatever will be the update.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, from your side, do you have any questions to ask? Anything else?
No, ma'am. Nothing.
Okay. So I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, one thing, sorry if I have troubled you or if I have disturbed you.
No,
Just
no.
only ask to know about like what will be the next step. Like from past 2 weeks, it has been the same. That's why I'm asking. That's it, ma'am.
Means about what?
Yeah, ma'am. For the last week, if it is not the case of 70%, I think I should get an update, right? So regarding whether you'll be in the paid internship or else if you have to continue the probation like that. So for that, I was just waiting for an update. It has been
Yeah.
60 days. I'm waiting for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
will.
sorry.
I guess you should have.
I'll just
Yes.
okay. Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
And
You
then
should have get the update. I will
yeah,
also give you a request. Let's see. Hope you will get within this week the update.
okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome. So we don't have any more interns, so we wrap up our session. Thank you so much, everyone.